All right, 7:30. We'll begin the meeting with a pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're starting this evening with a public hearing for a local law to offer a tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance service personnel. Could I have a reading of the proof of publication, please?
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Village of Baldwinsville Board at Baldwinsville Village Hall, 16 West Tennessee Street, Baldwinsville, New York, 13027, on the second day of March 2023 at 7:33 p.m. to consider a local law to amend Chapter 310 of the Village Code entitled Taxation to create a new Article 7 that would offer a tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance service personnel by the order of the Village Board of the Village of Baldwinsville dated February 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Jody. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? When you come to the mic, please state your name and address.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tony McIntyre, 7748 Canton Street, also the fire chief in town. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak. There was a couple things that I had mentioned the last meeting I was at, and man, I had a complete epiphany today. I actually took the day off to go to a conference, and at that conference there was 5 of us that took vacation time, and it's a conference from now through Sunday. 2 of them were 60 years old or better that are not necessarily riding fire trucks, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is those 2 may not be riding fire trucks, but they're an intricate part of today's emergency service and having to do things. We talked last month about the new volunteer, in 200 hours and all that stuff, but sometimes the people that have been there for a long, long time, they get kind of forgotten. So whatever you can do with this, and the more that you can, helps a little bit. I hate to play on bleeding hearts, but there was a fatality right up the road yesterday in Buffalo. They were doing a fire, and interesting enough, it's fire and emergencies and things along those lines. It's not discriminatory. We just had a big fire over on 51 Oswego Street that was hairy for a few minutes. It was very, very hairy at a point. So I would ask you to do whatever you can for us. We appreciate that. A little bit goes a long way. And the comment I want to make also, and I don't know if this is the time, but we had a water main break in the village the other day, worked with the water department, truck department. I had a crew there. Interesting enough is something that's Baldwinsville, and what we do is we went around to the local businesses, Jeff Rogers' business, the Red Mill. We got them water so they could do their dishes and things along those lines. Stuff like that doesn't, goes unnoticed. So any little bit you can do for us, I really appreciate it, okay? Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the proposal?
How come Lysander there was 50 firefighters and it's just you tonight? What happened?
You know what? They're at training tonight.
Oh,
I got
good.
35 at the firehouse at training.
Perfect.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak against the proposal? Not hearing any comments, I would entertain a motion to adjourn and close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now we'll move into the regular meeting of the village board. Could I have a motion approving the village board minutes from February 16th, 2023?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Can I have a motion to certify resolution 257/2022 that authorized hiring Greg Humphrey as a part-time codes officer? We already had the motion stuff, now we're certifying it.
Right.
Yep.
Well, we changed it by email.
Okay.
That's what this is, as opposed to.
But we need to certify it. So do we need a motion and a second?
There should be a motion.
All right,
So that's what I'm asking
so I'll
for.
do the motion.
Okay.
Yes, I got it for you.
Megan made the first motion.
This is certifying.
Want to make it again?
We're certifying.
Yeah.
Nate just made a motion. I'll second
There you
that.
go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm gonna try to keep it.
Now,
Well,
public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the board? If there is at this time, would you please come to the mic, state your name, and your address, and the nature of your business? I guess no one wants to talk to us this time.
Hard.
Okay. Trustees' comments. We'll lead off with Nate tonight.
I don't really have anything, stick to the agenda for the most part. I'd like to make an executive session to discuss Syracuse's 2-3 zone and see if anybody has any sort of resolution on that, please. It's driving me nuts. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, no, talking about the smokehouse, it's awesome that we continue to have really good restaurants in this town, and this is another one that's popping up there and it's getting great reviews. Syracuse.com is crushing it and everything like that. So it's something to be proud of. And with that, we'll stick to the agenda.
Ruth?
I'll stick with the agenda as well.
Okay, I'm going to go to Megan because we're going to come back to me, I guess.
I will stick to the agenda.
agenda.
Eric?
I will also stick to the agenda tonight.
Apparently I will not. At our DPW meeting, we met with one representative in person and one on the telephone because he has COVID. Just having preliminary discussions about the potential of getting some planning done for the village. Focusing on various aspects, the vacant lands that have not been developed, to develop a plan so that we could speak intelligently to someone coming in and wanting to talk to us about what could happen there. And this was just a preliminary meeting to get to meet each other. We'll have going to set up another meeting which we'll invite some of the planning board to. And then at some point, we're going to have to talk dollars and cents to see if this is even anything feasible that this board would entertain, because we didn't put it in our budget, obviously. So it was I thought it was a decent opening session. Nothing groundbreaking, but got to meet somebody. The second thing I'm going to mention is I would like to add to the agenda under new business, I guess it would be item C, increase in water rates for village residents and out of village water users. Other than that, I'll stick to the agenda and pass the ball to the mayor.
Well, I can handle the ball against the 2-3 zone that Syracuse plays. So, yeah.
We got to executive session.
I got a few things. First of all, when you're the mayor, you know, you get to see the good stuff and the bad stuff, and you hope you don't see much of the bad, but boy, last weekend we see the good Friday night with our water department. We had a major water break over on Water Street. That whole side of the river basically had no water. Chuck told me the water was just pouring out of this hole. He could see on his phone that measures, you can see where the water tanks are, and you could see the water going down in the tanks. It was just, it was crazy. And he said, he told me he called in, people had just gone home. So now they just get home, they get a call, you gotta come back. So, and they've been out quite a bit in the cold during the day. So it was, Friday night was not very nice, weather-wise. So some of our guys were there. I know Corey and Danny particularly were there. I think another one of the water department guys was there. Other people were there for a little while. And we had a private contractor come in and help. Chuck said, do you think you can let people know that we know about this? Because they were trying to call the emergency number. And of course, 150 people trying to call the emergency number at the same time. One gets through. The other 149 think nobody cares because they don't answer the phone. So I called all the TV stations, Syracuse.com, so could you please post, we have a major water break. We know that some people don't have water. We know that some people have low water pressure. We are working on it. We are doing everything we can to have it ready. Geez, that sounds like a real problem. Yeah, it is. It's a real problem. We had to get everybody I talked to that wanted to lecture me on water. Suddenly somebody sent me a message and said Channel 9 just announced that we had a water break, and so now people at least will know what's going on. Like 3 hours later, I get a phone call from Chuck. We're all set. The only people that don't have water are the people on Water Street and Meadow Street because that's where the break was, but everybody else in the village should have water. So now I turn around, I call the TV stations and Syracuse.com, whatever. It's fixed already. You got miracle people out there? I said, we kind of do. We have a special group of people working for our DPW and our water department. And it was nice to go on Facebook and read all the positive things that people had to say. And it was a lot of people that I know and a lot of people I don't know. Just saying, what a great group of people. They did it, the worst conditions possible. They got it fixed. We're so glad we live in Baldwinsville. I mean, what else would you want to hear as a mayor, to hear that people really were pleased with the way our water department responded? And it all starts with that guy sitting at the table, who we all call Chuck, and he's our favorite guy. And, we all know that water is his specialty, and his guys got it done. And I talked to somebody on Meadow Street who didn't have their water turned on at like 7 o'clock. And she said, we understand that they had talked to somebody who had told them, and we'll get this going, it won't be too long. And she said her husband said, as far as he could tell, the water came on about 1:30 in the morning, and they were tickled. They couldn't say enough nice things. So it takes bad things sometimes to find out what people think about us. And Chuck, you should be very proud. I know you are of your group. I know I'm very proud of all of you. Our one shining moment right there. Great job.
Good job, Chuck.
And then we'll get into on Monday and bring in an outside crew to fix the leak under the bridge and got that taken care of. So from Friday to Monday, Chuck had a couple of very serious water situations, and they got taken care of as quickly as possible and no serious problems. And so chalk that one up for the good guys.
Thank you.
Another one for the good guys, as far as my point of view, was the school board finally got it right and hired Joe DeBarbary to be the superintendent. He's the guy that saved them every time their previous choices for superintendent failed, and he stepped in and did the job, and they finally decided, I guess it was, why keep looking for somebody when we got a guy sitting here? I think the new superintendent, the one that was appointed just till July, the young lady who came in and was serving as superintendent, I think she had something to do with possibly saying, you got the guy right here. And so we're very pleased. We suddenly got a note the other night. They just appointed Joe. They had a special meeting, went in executive session for 3 hours, and came out and made the motion and approved Joe. I know that Chief Levenchek is a big booster of Joe DeBarbary, as am I, and I'm sure others. So that's very good news. We have been getting some feedback on our app or codes wanted ad. We've had, I think, maybe three interested people. One is interested in doing it part-time. One has been a code officer in the past, isn't right now, but has a long history of fire department stuff in Elbridge. And I think Chuck might be talking to him on Monday. So we are making some progress at filling that position. And we are still looking for somebody on the planning board. Give me a call if you're interested, and we'll see what we can do. We just got some paperwork. I don't know if everybody, got a copy of the proposal. The town of Lysander has been addressing the potential water district out by Mills Landing, which would take a referendum of those people. But because of the situation, in talking with Bruce the other day, and he reminded me that based on the agreement that we have now with water stuff, they can't add a house to the water districts without our approval. So this water district is going to need our approval at some point. If you would like a copy, check with Jody, she can give you a copy of it. It's fairly extensive, so if you're not real interested, if you'd rather let somebody else explain it, that's fine. But it's something that we'll have to address soon. And I know that I talked to Bob Wicks, the supervisor in Lysander, and he'd been led to believe that we were okay with it. And I said, the first time I heard about it was a week and a half ago, watching your board meeting on PAC-B. And when they asked the engineer who would be responsible if there were any problems, and he said, well, the village would. And I thought, the village? Has anybody even mentioned it to us? So Bob realized that we weren't okay with it and got us the paperwork. So it's something that we need to be prepared for. And I don't think Ruth's not there, right? There is a county grant program for senior facilities. We are looking at hoping to get some money to do some work at the senior center. Ruth has just contacted the county again saying, you know, we are very interested. We are looking at a new roof, new HVAC system, possibly upgrading the kitchen that you know, I'm like,
Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels. They're talking about maybe updating that kitchen, and please let us know what we need to do to apply for this money, because we would like to be aggressive with it. So, just so you folks know that. And we just got a notice today, we had gotten a $5,000 grant from NYSERDA, from Clean Energy Commission, and we are now eligible for a $10,000 grant. The application has to be in May 1st. And we'll talk with Greg Humphrey and see what he was thinking. I know before he was talking about doing the application, and then get some information to you for the next board meeting. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Following up on your comments, Jody, I would request that everybody at least get the cover letter where Lysander is making a request to us, because I assume that's going to end up on an agenda very shortly. It says this letter serves as a request to form the Mills Road Water District. So I assume we need to react.
And Bruce, as of right now, we have no mapping. We don't know where they're going to hook into. We just need information.
Gotcha. Moving along to department heads. Move to our attorney, Joe.
Good to see you all. I will stick with the agenda for tonight.
Very good. Our village clerk, Jody.
I will stick to the agenda, thank you.
Brings us to the treasurer, Mark.
Nope, same thing, agenda.
You can't get by me.
Okay. Superintendent of Public Works, Chuck.
Just a quick note on Nick pretty much covered the water break, but just to let people know, we had two issues. Earlier in the week, we had a leak under the bridge, and we had that leak valve down, and when the other one blew, that really compromised that side of the river. We have the water department has a lot of fairly new employees over there. Corey Perkins is the foreman. Matt Brown and Alex Gould they're the ones that came back in. They were home, they came back in again. They did a fantastic job. Some of the water valves have been paved over when the state did the last job. The big valve that we need they got a hold of it, they got down on it and got it closed off within an hour. I apologize to the people we couldn't answer the phone. All emergency goes into my phone. My phone just didn't stop until it went dead. But the fire department did come and help us. We just were, it was just too much for a small amount of time, and we couldn't even block the road off. The fire department were dispatched. Actually, that's how we found it. I was plowing and I saw it, and I went over by the water department, saw the pressure down. I said, well, this is a big break. Started calling people, and fire department took care of making the area safe until we could get in there and get barricades in. You know, we appreciate that. Jeff Belzak, he was fantastic, one of the chiefs here, and they took care of that for us. We got a contractor right away because the guys worked all night. We got held up on some things. They were there till 4 a.m, but we had conversations with county and state health about the world water, and everything went so we didn't have to do that. But my hat's off to the water guys over there. They just, I thought I'd never be able to leave that department, and they're just doing fantastic over there. And just to get control of it that quickly, and we had some other issues. There was a high pressure gas main there, and we couldn't dig next to it, so that held us up for about 3.5 hours. But they stayed there right to the end. We had Trolley's company there with us. Then the next day we came back to the bridge, and there was a couple that had broke underneath the bridge, and it's just, we can't get to that either. And they had a device that we made last year when they replaced a bunch of the bolts there. They got that fixed. That was Tuesday or Wednesday, and everything's back to normal, and all went fantastic. And like I said, I apologize to people we couldn't talk to. The clerk's office was home at 4 o'clock, so there was nobody to answer those phones. We had nobody in the buildings because everybody was out in the street. And the mayor putting on Facebook seemed to really help. And a lot of people are going to the webpage, and I think Jody did put something on the webpage before she left, and that did help some. But other than that, for as trying to scoff as it was, it really went pretty well. But other than that, I'm also questions.
Well, since we don't have the senior center, we don't have codes, we can get right over to our police chief, Mike, quickly.
Thank you. Just working with Mark Baker, we had applied for and received a $20,000 grant to upgrade our body camera program. So we're in the process of getting quotes in process for that from a couple of vendors. Obviously, we have current body cameras, so that's likely will expand with them, but we just want to make sure we're covering all the bases there. And I wasn't aware that they were actually going to send the money. Mark let me know that the money's arrived. I thought we were going to have to, I was going to work with him and spend it and then get reimbursed, but the state already sent the money, so I hadn't even had a chance to talk to Mark yet. So
How many body cameras do we have in use at the moment?
Well, one of them ended up in the bottom of the Seneca River when we were pulling a woman out of there. So I'd have to, Mike Lockwood knows the exact answer. 7 or 8, so this will expand it so that way if we have large events, everyone can have one. And, right now, if we've got 2 SROs working full-time, plus our 2 SPOs, plus our day shift people, that's 6. If the lieutenant needs one or I need one, now that's 7, 8, it adds up quick. 3 to 11 shift comes in, and we're, still messing around with, not messing around, but making sure our resolution settings are appropriate so that way battery life for a shift, and if somebody's working a 12 or 16-hour shift, they need to, go back and get a new one. So this will allow us to have enough for the cameras to work the whole shift, if not come back and get one. Or if we've got a major event, the Memorial Day Parade, July 4th, and we've got a lot of people working, everyone will be able to have one. Because now what we would do is if we've got 2-person teams out there, we would ensure that at least one person had a camera. So this will expand that out for us. As we look to the future, as we do some long-range planning, one of the things that the village is going to have to look at is right now, we have a server to store all of our data, but the more data we have, the more cameras get utilized. Probably within the next 2-3 years, we're going to have to look at moving that data storage to the cloud. And that then becomes a legacy cost issue, because once it goes to the cloud, you're always going to need to have access to that. So that's just going to be one of those cost of doing business type things that would need to be budgeted for every year in operational expenses. But right now we've got the server. We'll see how long that lasts us. And we've already run into a problem where we've had to change some retention settings because the server was filling up. So we're still in the the trial phase of that aspect of it to ensure that we're keeping everything we need to, not keeping things we don't need to for too long, so that way we can keep the stuff we do. But this will be a good opportunity to expand our program. So we're just looking at all the different options now. I'm going to make an informed decision. Other than that, I know last Friday when I called Chuck and he just answered the phone and said it's bad. He didn't even say hi, Mike. So, and then I reached out to the mayor. We talked about getting something out on social media and doing that type of thing. So, but other than that, unless there's questions, be happy to answer any if there are. Other than that, continue on with your meeting, sir.
Okay. Moving on to pending business. Could I have a motion for a local law to offer a tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance service personnel?
I will make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question for Chuck. Are you in that group, Chuck? Are you included in this?
No.
Are you on time with the fire department?
No, I don't believe so. I haven't been notified if I was.
Okay, I just was curious.
I'd like to take a second and thank Mark for turning around the actual numbers, the impact, as quick as you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Mark.
Easier to understand.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mike. You asked the question first, and I... If there is no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Carried. Take it to the guys. And girls, yes, okay.
Listen, I would delay motion because Joe has been doing some work on both the contract and he's been doing the contract, and Dan Schmidt has been working on the insurance with Nymer. Nymer wanted us to add a couple things, and I think we're still in the process. So I would not want to have to vote on this tonight.
Okay, so item B,
You just table it.
just keep it in pending.
Yeah, I would like a little bit of input from the board because I am negotiating this right now, and I think we're hung up on one point with this company. We discussed this the last time. This is the company that wants to put in the kayak rentals into our parks. And I think one of the big issues we have right now is they're saying as a non-negotiable that they want the $18,000 activation fee paid up front and then we'll complete the work. And my position is, I don't really know who you are. I don't want to give you $18,000 and then cross my fingers and hope that the work is completed. So I just want to make sure that the board is okay with me taking that position in the negotiations. That's kind of where we're hung up at this point.
Are you offering like 50 to start?
I mean, I could if the board wants to. I mean, I don't need an answer on it tonight, but just.
Can we just offer them a purchase order? Like it's a binding contract. You're going to get your 16,000. I don't want to give them 18 because they only asked for 16.
Okay.
They talk to us.
Okay. All right. All right. I mean, I don't feel comfortable at all giving them that money. This is a Michigan company as well, so once we give the money.
Talking to them, I asked Dick a question that we didn't ask when we talked to these guys on the phone. Currently, they say you scan with your phone and that allows you to open the thing and get the kayak. I wanted to know if it has a time lock of some sort, so someone's not going down there at 2 a.m. with their phone when they're not supposed to be in the park, and we sure as heck don't want them out on the river. Hopefully it has, that can be programmed so you can't open it in off hours.
Sure. Well, we should probably put that into the contract so that we can.
And the other thing is someone commented after our last meeting, a woman and then I researched it after she said this, New York State boating law requires a noise-making device. And most kayakers put a whistle on their life jacket. And I'm wondering if they're going to make provisions so that it's legal. It's obviously a safety thing in case somebody capsizes so they can call for help.
Well, very good.
So another thing to mention.
Brought up at our next conversation. So
Okay, well,
I hope
thank
to
you.
have more of an update for the board at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Item C, motion discussion to reallocate remaining 2020 project funds to Village Hall insulation project.
Moved.
Second.
Discussion?
It's cold in here today.
You did say that. When you walked in, you did say that.
Do you mind if I,
Oh, not at all.
are we ready for that to come off the table from the last meeting yet? Because I don't know where that process is to get the bids and stuff, and
There were
so,
documents
It looked like- yeah,
prepared.
that's what I-
That's item A.
right, but we're not ready to award the bid, we're ready to just let the bid, right? So, it doesn't matter to me what you do, but I just didn't know if this process that you went through doesn't yield any bidders again or whatever, and we don't, maybe what we've done is premature or whatever, I don't know, it's kind of up to you guys, but.
This is all internal within that one bond?
Yeah, it's just saying that when the funding is ready, or when the work is ready, then that bond's ready to pay for that work.
Do we need to do that before we, sometimes I've heard you have to have the money in place before you put a bid out. You've got to have the way that you're paying for it in place.
I mean, I don't see an issue with allocating the money to I mean, we don't know how much yet because the bids still haven't come in, but we want to allocate money to this project, and then hopefully the bid comes over under whatever we allocate, we can do that.
That's fine with me, it cleans the bond up,
Okay.
because there's other stuff in there that they're never gonna use the money for.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. So now you can reallocate.
Go nuts, but.
New business. Motion to ratify the release of the bid package for the 2023 Village of Ballsville insulation project.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I believe everyone got an email or two. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item B, a motion to declare Village Court LHP LaserJet Pro DT0053715, I assume that's a printer, as surplus.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Note, I didn't even ask for discussion on that one. Item C, the one I added, is a propose to increase the in-village water rates by 3% and out-of-village water rates by 4%. This would increase the quarterly charge per household from in the village, from $17.21 to approximately $17.73. These numbers, Jody and company will get the real number, but I'm gonna be within a penny or two. The usage would be go from $1.39 to $1.43 per 100 cubic feet. So the base fee is about $2 for the year. Out of the village, it'll go up from $22.52 to $23.42, and the usage from $1.56 to $1.62. Those are the numbers I told you I'd give you. I'll make this motion.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
Is this just a one-time intended rate, or are you?
This
I
is
know
just,
in the
this
past
is
we've
just
done
for the next, yeah.
multiple
I
years
didn't do
at
multiple
once.
years. This is just for the, I think Jody says it starts in like July, June, July.
It's going to affect in July, and it's from the, 3 months previous to that. So.
Yeah.
This is in light of the fact that cost of electricity has gone up. That's how we get the water out of the ground. Cost of chemicals have increased. The cost of delivering the water is increased, so it's trying to keep pace with the cost of doing business.
Right.
It's still about 1/20th of what NIMO charges you to deliver electricity.
I could tell you how much it compares to Aqua's rate, but we don't need to.
less.
Yes, we'll be nice. It's less. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Do we have to do that executive session?
I'd like to, but I mean, if anybody else wants to, this is driving me nuts.
Bruce, one quick thing about the water break too that I wanted to add is we're also in contact with Aqua during this. I just heard you bring their name up, and they were also fantastic. They just said, let us know what you need, we'll be there to help you, and I wanted just to put that out too.
Glad to hear that. Can I have a motion to pay bills as audited?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:05?
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you for coming. 2 of you came and 3 of you came and never said a word to us.
Yeah.